Hi everyone, Tasha with Start a School Crochet. Today we're going to learn how to do this really cute mushroom waistcoat stitch beanie. And what you're going to need to do this beautiful beanie is you're going to need a darning needle, scissors. I'm putting 3 crochet hooks up here as an example, but I'm only using one, which is this 5mm crochet hook, a pom-pom, which is also optional. And for this tutorial, I used a kind of a mixed bag of yarn. So I used Lion Brand's Black Canyon for the brim of the hat, which is right here. Then I used Impeccable yarn, which you can find at Michael's. I used white, mint, and then a turquoise and a red. So you can use different colors if you want. These are just what I used because I really liked the way that they all combined together. So to start, let's get started. And so I'm going to grab my 5mm crochet hook. And what I was saying before about the different sizes is you can go up one size hook to a 6mm for the top of the hat if you want to. And if you're unfamiliar with the waistcoat stitch, which creates kind of like a knit look to your fabric, it's really beautiful. It's like a knit pattern and you work off of a chart. It's really great. You're going to love it. Let's get started. I'm going to put this aside and push all these aside. And we're going to start with the brim. This, I did a sample brim for you. The brim is really easy and you can size this however you want. I did 75 complete rows around, which fit perfect for my 22-inch head. And I kind of have a big head, so if you want to go down, you can. But just remember that the chart works in multiples of 15. If you do go down, you'll have to go down by 15 complete rows, which is quite a few inches. So you might want to just keep the chart the same and just reduce the size of the brim, and you'll just have kind of like a little bit more of a puffy top for your hat. And if you want to make a child size, you can make a child size of this too by going down one full section and you'll be good to go. To start, I'm going to use a slip knot. And then we're going to do a chain of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, this is completely customizable. You can make it fatter, skinnier, however you want. Next, we're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So we've got 1, 2. We're going to go straight through that chain, yarn over, draw up a loop, and then yarn over and draw through both. Then work single crochet stitch across in each chain until you reach the very end. There's what we have so far. And you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 single crochets. Now we're going to chain 1, turn it, and then we're going to work through both loops of that very first stitch right here with a single crochet. After that, work just through the back loop only, which is kind of hard to see with this black yarn. But there's 2 loops in your front and you're going to work through just the back loop only and do a single crochet in each stitch across. When you reach the very last stitch, you're going to work through both loops of that very last stitch and do a single crochet. So what you're doing is you're working through both loops at the front and both loops at the back, and the ones in the middle are going to be single crochet back loop only. Then for the next row, you're going to chain 1, turn, and do the same thing. Work your single crochet through both loops, and then work through the back loop only single crochet. And you'll see after a while, you're going to get something that looks just like this. And this is 75 rows. So you're going to work it until you reach 75 rows. And again, this is just an average head size. With it folded over and connected, it's about 9 inches, which would make it about, let's see, well, it's about 9.5 inches, which would make it about 19 inches. And then when you stretch it, it fits anywhere from 19 to 22 inch head. So I went ahead and did just a few more rows so you could see how to join it. So what you're going to do to join is you're just going to kind of fold the pieces together and match up your stitches, and then go through the very first stitch on your other piece, and you're just going to work a slip stitch. On that first one, you're going to go through both loops. It's starting chain, so it's a little bit trickier. And then on the next one, you're going to work through the back loop of your front piece and the front loop of your back piece. Slip stitch through both. So work through the back loop only of that one and the front loop only of your front piece. Bring this one over here. Once you get to the top, you're going to flip it inside out so that the seam is on the inside. And then that's when you're going to start working your single crochets around the top of the beanie. And you're going to work 1 single crochet into the end of each row. So you'll have 75 single crochets by the time you reach around. Now, if you make your beanie smaller and you omit one of these rows, or the 15 rows, so then you'll have to omit 15 rows from the brim of the beanie. Okay, let's get started on the top of this beanie because I know that's what you all are waiting for. I created this graph in Stitch Fiddle, and this graph will be available on my blog at startaschoolcrochet.com. You can go get it there. The link will be down in the description below. So this is how we work from a graph. The repeat pattern is 15 columns, and we work from right to left. So we work from bottom to top, right to left. So we're going to start off with this bottom square over here, and we're going to go work all of our stitches until we reach 15. And that's basically how you do it, but I will show you the stitch you're going to use to create the pattern that makes it actually look like a knit stitch. It's called the waistcoat stitch, and it's just about stitch placement, nothing else. There's really nothing fancy about it. So I am going to go up 1 hook size for the top. I'm going to go up to a 6mm, and that will just give me a little bit of a better base. So I'm going to put that there. I made this little stitch marker here so that I could keep place before I joined, and I can show you how to join it when we're joining our new color. We're going to work into the very first stitch that we created. This black yarn's a little bit hard to see, but it's right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put my hook there, my yarn through, and I'm going to grab my green. There's my green color. So I'm going to go ahead and attach my green yarn by placing the yarn over my hook, pulling it through, and then pulling it through my loop. It's already on my brim. Then I'm going to pull that loop really tight. You can weave this tail in and work it in as you work your single crochets too. So now we're going to chain 1. And after we chain 1, we're going to work our first stitch into this very same stitch and yarn over, pull up, and yarn over and pull through both. On this first stitch, we're going to work straight through both loops and do a single crochet. On the next one, we're going to do the waistcoat stitch, which is a little difficult to see here. So I might do 1 whole round of the green first and then come back and show you how to do the waistcoat stitch on the second round because it is a little difficult to see with this black yarn. So meet me around. I'll meet you back in a second. When you reach the end, we're going to refer to our chart because we want to make sure that we actually are switching colors with the right color. And so we see we just did row 1, and row 1 was 15 green. So we did all of our green. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And now row 2 has 14 green plus 1 blue. So I'll work the 14 green and then the blue, and I'll show you how to do the color change. So now the waistcoat stitch, what you're going to do when you join, you want to join straight into the center of the V right here. So this is the V. There's 2 legs to each single crochet. We've got our top 2 loops, which is where we normally work through. So we're not going to do that. We're going to put our hook. We're going to hook the right leg of that loop and go straight through the center underneath everything. And because we have 14 of those regularly, we're just going to go straight through. And that's the trick to doing it and make your stitches very loose. So we're going to join, we're going to pull that loop tight, and then we're going to go straight back into that exact same stitch and do our first single crochet. Now mark that stitch because we're not going to actually be seaming. We're going to do it in the complete round. So mark that first stitch and then continue on working the waistcoat stitch. And remember to do these very loose. And going in at an angle really helps also. So like when you pull it, you kind of turn it this way. You're kind of going in at a 45-degree angle. And pull up to make your stitches loose, because on the next round, you're going to have to get in between, and sometimes it can be very, very difficult. But not if you use these tricks. And also the point of your hook really helps too. This is our 14th stitch, so I'm not going to finish my stitch. I'm going to grab my blue yarn. I'm going to attach it just like you do any other normal color change. I'm going to carry this yarn with it behind the next stitch. My next stitch is going to be blue, so it's going to be this one right there. And I'm carrying my green color inside so that I can pick it right back up again right now, because we're about to switch back to green. So I'm going to drop it back, and remember which way you drop it. This will keep your yarns from tangling. So I'm going to drop it back that way and pull this one up this way. Then I'm going to finish out my stitch, pull it. And now I'm going to work green, and I'm going to carry this blue around the entire way. And you'll see we've already created our 1 blue stitch. So we're repeating this pattern. We're going to do 14 more green and 1 more blue until we reach all the way around the other side. Yuki has joined the conversation. Hi. Okay, so you'll remember that you want to go to the back and pull your blue just a little bit tight. You don't want it too tight. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to drop it back this way, pick up our green, and finish out the stitch. Oops, wait. We're gonna do just like what we did before. We're going to pull up our blue, pull the green forward, and finish our stitch. Then we're going to do our next stitch with the green inside, and then switch right back to our blue. So that's how you work your pattern all the way around. You're going to keep doing that all the way up the entire pattern. And when you get to the top, so we have about 24 rows. You can do 23 rows. You can make it as tall as you want. After you get to the top, what you're going to do is gather all of the corners together and sew them in together. So you'll have basically a rectangle is what it's going to look like, a rectangle. Then take your needle and your thread, any yarn you want to use, but I think I used blue, and just go through and sew it all up in a neat way. I added this button to the back side, and I did another video. You can watch the other video. I'll put the link down in the description below on how to attach this button. And the reason why is so that you can attach any color pom-pom you want. And it makes it really super easy. If you don't have the snap-on kind, some people have snap-on kinds. Gee, this is my Yuki. One more thing. When you come to the mushroom parts, I did a little bit of a puff stitch. So I will put that in the directions. So it just, remember, I did just like a tiny little puff stitch, just so it kind of puffed out just a little bit. And then continue on just like you did before. If you don't want to do the puff stitch, you don't have to, but that's what I thought was super cute. And I'll leave the directions for the puff stitch. Well, actually, I'll just show you the puff stitch with this. So that's it. That's how you do it. You create the brim, you start working the graph, work it all the way up, sew up the top, add a button, add your pom-pom, and you are good to go. So here's a little puff stitch. So to do the little puff stitch for the mushroom, Yuki, what are you doing? She's getting inside the mushroom beanie. To do the puff stitch for the mushroom, you're going to yarn over first, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, insert your hook in the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, then just yarn over and pull through all of the loops on your hook. And it gives you this cute little puff stitch. And then just go back to your regular waistcoat stitch. And you can just kind of puff it through, but it creates a cute little puff that works great for these little white spots on the beanie. They're so cute. And you can see it's already starting to take shape. This one is this right here. See, this one's a lot bigger, so if you don't want to use a 6mm hook size, you don't have to, but my other stitch is a lot tighter, didn't I? Because you can see from here to here, that's what the difference using a larger hook makes. You can see it right here in real time. So I used a 5mm hook for this on this one, and this one for the sample I used 6mm hook. So you can see it's quite larger. It's probably about a good almost an inch larger. If you have any questions about this beanie, please leave them in the comments below. Head over to my blog post. You can get the free pattern there on the blog, and it's a written pattern plus the graph. All that will be down in the description below. Happy crocheting, everybody. I hope you have a good day. Bye. Say bye, Yuki. Say bye, Yuki. Oh, you're so cute. She loves getting in my videos. You're so pretty. You're so pretty.